Hi friends, welcome to Prepscale English classes. Today I am discussing with you Module 2 of HSST Syllabus. Here the first unit is Beowulf. Beowulf is the oldest English poem. Beowulf is the oldest existing English poem. So, this is included in the non-detailed part. But for the examination purpose, you must know in detail, in depth. Detailed, non-detailed whenever you study anything, whenever you learn anything, you must know. You must have the in-depth knowledge of things. You must have the clear concept of the units that you are going to study. Let us see this poem. See, Beowulf is the oldest surviving epic poem written in Old English. Remember, Beowulf is the oldest. It is the oldest surviving epic poem. It is an epic poem. It is not it has a wide canvas. It consists of more than 3,000 lines, 3,182 lines. This is an epic poem written in Old English. Remember that. The period, that is 700 and 750 Christian era. So, the story's historical elements. The story, this is the oldest existing or surviving epic poem written in Old English. While the story's historical elements are set between 5th and 8th centuries. The poem was likely composed orally between 700 and 750 CE and written down much later. Remember this. The oldest epic poem written in Old English. The period is 5th century and 8th centuries. Composed orally. Remember, orally between 700 and 750 Christian era and written down much later. Then, the manuscript. The single existing manuscript. Remember, the single existing manuscript of Beowulf was likely written by 2 monks in England. See, it is anonymously written, no author at all. And years composed is 750 CE. Remember that. And genre is adventure. It's an adventure story. Epic poem. The single existing medieval manuscript was likely composed by 2 monks in England. The handwriting analysis dates to the early 11th century. It is now housed in British Museum. In the British Museum, you can see the manuscript. That is the origin of Beowulf. Then, setting. Scholars used the poem's descriptions of cultural elements like burial ceremonies and the construction of construction of Hrothgar Hall to determine setting. In 2013, archaeologists claim to have discovered the ruins of Hrothgar in Denmark, dating them to 6th century. The remainings, the archaeologists claim to have discovered the remainings or the ruins or the relics of Hrothgar in Denmark, dating to the 6th century. 6ാം നൂറ്റാണ്ടിലാണ് ഇത് എഴുതപ്പെടുന്നത് എന്ന് മനസ്സിലാക്കുന്നത് അപ്പോഴാണ്. Scholars, use the poem's descriptions of cultural events like burial ceremonies and the construction of the Herod Hall to determine its setting. Setting might be in Denmark. Then, culture blend. The poem is known for its mix of pagan traditions and Christian values. The cultural trend is pagan traditions and cultural values. This is a mix of, it's a blend of. The poem is known for its blend of pagan traditions and cultural values, which is often a subject of scholarly debate. This is often a subject of scholarly debate. Okay. Then let us think, what is the modern relevance? What is the modern relevance of Beowulf? Beowulf is the oldest surviving epic poem. Unknown authorship. Written during the period of 750 BC. And the relics or the ruins. See, and the archaeologists discovered that it was written during 750 BC and the place Herod Hall was in Denmark. Then, what is the modern relevance? The story's core themes, the story's main themes. See, the theme is, it is adventure, genre is adventure, heroic deeds. Heroic deeds. Battle between good and evil. See, this poem, depicts heroic deeds, adventures, and battle between virtue and vice, good and evil, and the importance of loyalty. Your loyalty continue to resonate in modern life and entertainment. Remember, the theme of the story is heroic deeds, heroic cause, the battle between good and evil, and the loyalty and importance of loyalty, and the legacy of loyalty continue to echo, resonate in modern life and entertainment. അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഇത് ക്ലാസിക്കായി മാറുന്നത്. ഇന്നും പ്രസക്തമാണ്. ഇതിൽ കാണിക്കുന്ന ലോയൽറ്റി, the battle between good and evil, heroic gods, and these are the aspects which give importance in modern life and entertainment. Then, next, let's see the author biography. See, Beowulf, author biography. Let's see the author biography. See, here, the author, I have told you that author of Beowulf is unknown authorship, anonymous. The composition, 750 CE. It is an oral tale, orally generated, orally transferred to generation. And it is meant to be enchanted or performed like it to the music of harp and drums. Harp and drums are the music instruments used in the performance. Right? It is, Beowulf is the oldest surviving epic poem written during the period of 750 of Beowulf is, the author of Beowulf is unknown, and it is believed, it is an oral tale. It is meant to be enchanted or performed, likely the music of harp and drums. Right. And the poetic style. Remember this. അവിടെ ഒരു ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ വരാം. Poetic style എന്താണ്? The poet was highly skilled in the art of storytelling. Though it is an epic, the oldest surviving epic poem, its canvas is wide. It has characters and a lot of characters, plots and subplots. So, it is an epic poem. And this poetic style, diction, storytelling technique. See, the poet was, the author of this, Beowulf, was highly skilled in the art of storytelling and alliteration, the repetition of initial sounds in words. Alliteration. He used alliteration. താളാത്മകമായി വാക്കിൻ്റെ താളം, alliteration ധാരാളം ഉപയോഗിച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു എപ്പിക് പോയമാണത് ഈ Beowulf. സ്റ്റോറി ടെല്ലിംഗ് മെത്തേഡ്സ് ആണ്, ടെക്നിക്സ് കണ്ടോ. ദ പോയം ഹാസ് distinct rhythmic quality which supports the theory of origins of oral tradition. The poem was highly skilled in the art of storytelling and alliteration. The technique gives the poem a distinct rhythmic quality which supports the theory of its origins and in oral tradition. അതാണ് ഈ കവിത ഒരു വാമൊഴിയായി തലമുറകളിലേക്ക് പടർന്നു വന്നതാണ്, വാമൊഴിയായി രൂപപ്പെട്ടതാണ് എന്ന് കൃത്യമാണ്. കാരണം താളാത്മകമാണത്. ഇത് കഥ പറയുന്ന ആൾ വളരെ സ്കിൽഡാണ്, സമർത്ഥമായി കഥ പറയാൻ, അസാമാന്യമായ കഴിവ് ഉപയോഗിച്ച് കഥ പറയുന്ന ആളാണ് ഈ കഥാകൃത്ത്. അത് വളരെ താളാത്മകമായി വാമൊഴിയിലൂടെ പകർന്നു വന്നതാണിത്. ഡിസ്റ്റിങ് റിതമിക് ക്വാളിറ്റി ഉണ്ട്. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ സപ്പോർട്ട് തിയറി ഓഫ് ഒറിജിൻസ് ഓഫ് ഓറൽ ട്രഡീഷൻ. നമുക്ക് ഭാഷയുടെ വികാസത്തിന് ഒരു വാമൊഴി പാരമ്പര്യമുണ്ട്. ആ വാമൊഴി പാരമ്പര്യത്തെ സിദ്ധാന്തവൽക്കരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു കൃതി കൂടിയാണിത് Beowulf. നോക്കണം നിങ്ങൾ. ദെൻ ഇനി ക്യാരക്ടേഴ്സ് നോക്കുക. ഇവിടെ ക്യാരക്ടേഴ്സ് കാണാൻ നമുക്ക് കിങ് ഹ്രോഥ്ഗാർ, അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ ഭാര്യയാണ് ഏഷ്യ. Beowulf ഉണ്ട്, ബ്രേവ് ഹീറോ ആണ്. നമുക്ക് നോക്കുക, ക്യാരക്ടേഴ്സ് നോക്കാം. നിങ്ങൾ ക്യാരക്ടർ നോക്കുക, ഫുൾ ക്യാരക്ടർ ലിസ്റ്റ് നോക്കുക. Beowulf is the poem's brave hero. Beowulf is the poem's brave hero. Then next character is King Hrothgar. He is the ruler of the Danes, Denmark, and Beowulf's loyal friend. See, Beowulf is an embodiment of loyalty. Hrothgar is the ruler of Denmark, Danes, and Beowulf's loyal friend. Beowulf is the hero. Then Grendel. Grendel is the evil beast that terrorizes King Hrothgar's men and whom Beowulf kills. See, Grendel, who is Grendel? Grendel is the evil beast which gives a lot of atrocities. Evil beast that terrorizes King Hrothgar's men. King Hrothgar was the ruler of Denmark. His men, his followers were terrorized by Grendel, and Grendel was killed by Beowulf. Then, next character. See the next character. And Beowulf. See, here you know, Beowulf is the King Hrothgar's queen. Beowulf is King Hrothgar's queen and an ambassador of peace. She is an ambassador of peace. സമാധാനത്തിൻ്റെ മാലാഖയാണ്, ഏഞ്ചൽ ഓഫ് പീസ്. or messenger of peace, Wiltju, King Hrothgar's wife. Then, fifth character is dragon. The dragon is an evil, fire-breathing creature that fatally wounds Beowulf before his own death. Dragon is, see, Beowulf, Grendel, dragon, Grendel's mother. See, Beowulf, King Hrothgar, his wife Wiltju, dragon. Dragon is an evil, fire-breathing creature that fatally wounds Beowulf before his own death. Grendel's mother. See, Beowulf is the protagonist of the epic. And Grendel's mother is a beast that seeks revenge to his own death. See, Grendel's mother is a beast that seeks to avenge her own deaths and killed by Beowulf. Grendel's mother decided to take revenge upon. She seeks to avenge her own son's death, and she was killed by Beowulf. See, then next character is Wiglaf. Wiglaf is Beowulf's cousin. Wiglaf is Beowulf's cousin and companion. Wiglaf is Beowulf's cousin and companion who helps him defeat the dragon. See, there was a duel between Beowulf and dragon, and Beowulf was assisted by Wiglaf, Beowulf's cousin and companion. Then Yskyr. Yskyr is Hrothgar's, the ruler of Denmark, his advisor, and he is killed by Grendel's mother. Yskyr was Hrothgar's, the king's advisor, and he was killed by Grendel's mother. Beow. Beow is Hrothgar's grandfather. Breca. Breca is Beowulf's childhood friend. Then Ecgtheow. Ecgtheow is Beowulf's father. Finn. Finn is the king of Frisians. Halfdane. Halfdane is Hrothgar's king's father, ruler's father. Then Heardred. Heardred is son of Hygelac and Hild. Hildebrush, King Finn's queen. Hnif, Danish ruler, brother of Hildebrush, killed by King Finn. Then Hrethric, Hrothgar's oldest son and heir until his cousin steals the crown. Hrethric is Hrothgar's oldest son and heir until his cousin steals the crown. Hrothulf, Hrothgar's nephew, who Wiltju suggests should inherit the crown. Wiltju, the queen, suggests should inherit the crown. Hrothulf. Then Hrothmund. Hrothmund is Hrothgar's second son. Right. Then Hygd, Beowulf's aunt, queen of the Geats. Hygelac, Beowulf's uncle and mentor, king of Geats. King Hermod is an ancient king who eventually betrayed his subjects. King Hermod is an ancient king who eventually betrayed his subjects. Then, King Hrethel is the previous king of the Geats. Beowulf's great uncle and foster father. King Onila. King Onila is a nobleman who seized the Swedish throne killed by Beowulf. King Onila is a nobleman who seized Swedish throne killed by Beowulf. King Ongentheow. King Ongentheow is the Swedish king killed by Ifo, Hygelac's Danes. Then, Queen Mordred. Queen Mordred is a cruel queen whose behavior sets her up by soil for King Hild. Shield Chief's son is Hrothgar's great-grandfather, the founder of his tribe. These are the, then Sigmund, ancient warrior and dragon slayer who slays dragon. Unferth, one of the Hrothgar's men whose spite for Beowulf grows into admiration. Unferth is one of Hrothgar's men whose spite for Beowulf grows into admiration. Spite for Beowulf grows into admiration. These are the characters of the epic poem. ധാരാളം characters ഉള്ള ഒരു വലിയ epic poem ആണ് Beowulf. അല്ലേ? ഒരുപാട് characters ഉണ്ട്. Unferth. We have seen all the characters. Then, let's see it's an audited test ആണ്. Questions ചോദിക്കാം, ഏതും ചോദിക്കാം. അടുത്ത ചോദ്യം നോക്കാം. Beowulf, the epic hero from the land of Geats. Beowulf is the epic hero from the land of Geats. He is motivated by a strong sense of loyalty and desire for fame. He is motivated by a strong sense of loyalty because his father was saved by King of the Danes. So he is motivated by strong sense of loyalty and a desire for fame. And Beowulf is a great leader who is kind, generous, and diplomatic, ruling his people in peace for 50 years. He defeats 3 monsters, Grendel, Grendel's mother, and a dragon. Remember this. Beowulf is the hero of the epic. He is the hero of the land of the Geats. He is motivated by a sense of loyalty and desire for fame. He desires to be respected and acknowledged by all. He is a great leader. He is kind, generous, diplomatic, ruling his people in peace for 50 years. He defeats 3 monsters, Grendel, Grendel's mother, and a dragon. Then, King Hrothgar, king of the Danes, who builds a great mead hall, Heorot. Heorotil വലിയൊരു ഹാൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്നതാണ്. He once saved Beowulf's father. Which is why Beowulf feels a deep sense of loyalty towards him. He acts as a father figure to Beowulf. King Hrothgar acts as a father figure to Beowulf. He has a deep sense of loyalty towards King Hrothgar. Then, Grendel. Grendel, a monstrous terrormonger and a descendant of biblical Cain. ബൈബിളിലെ കെയിൻ എന്ന കഥാപാത്രത്തിന്റെ പൂർവികൻ. Annoyed by the joyful sounds from Hroth. Hrothil King Hrothgar ഉണ്ടാക്കിയ സൗണ്ടിൽ ഇയാൾ യൂസ് annoyed, ദേഷ്യം വരും. He terrorizes the hall for 12 years. Beowulf defeats him by ripping off his arm. Beowulf defeats Grendel by ripping off his arm. Then, Grendel's mother. Beowulf Grendeline കൈമുറിച്ച് കൊന്നുകളിയാണ്. A monster who seeks revenge after his son is killed. Grendel's mother is a monster. She seeks revenge after her son is killed. She attacks Hroth, killing off one of Hrothgar's trusted advisors. Killing off one of Hrothgar's trusted advisors. Beowulf hunts her down in her underwater lair. Beowulf hunts her down. See, her haven was, she took shelter at the underwater lair. And Beowulf hunts her down her underwater lair and kills her with a magical sword. Grendel's mother was killed with a magical sword. Then, the dragon. A fire-breathing creature obsessed with treasure. Obsessed with treasure. It awakens and attacks Beowulf's kingdom. After a slave steals a golden goblet from its hoard. It awakens and attacks Beowulf's kingdom. After a slave steals a golden goblet from its hoard. In their final battle, the dragon fatally wounds Beowulf. Dragon fatally wounds Beowulf. Then, Wiglaf, Beowulf's cousin and loyal, trusted companion. He is the only one of Beowulf's warriors who stays to help him fight with the dragon. He is the only one of Beowulf's warriors who stays to help him fight the dragon. Beowulf passes on his battle armor to Wiglaf before he dies. Beowulf passes on his battle armor to Wiglaf before he dies. Then, Wiglaf, King Hrothgar's queen and a strong ambassador of peace. She is a gracious hostess who praises Beowulf for his heroism. She praises Beowulf for his heroism. ഇതാണ് important characters of the play. ഇനി ഇതിന്റെ plot summary നോക്കാം നമുക്ക്. Let us see the plot summary. The plot unfolds three main parts. It's an epic poem consisting of 3,182 lines. The plot unfolds in three main parts, centered on Beowulf's battles with three monsters. The poem, the plot of the poem unfolds three main parts, centered on Beowulf's battles with three monsters. First battle is battle with Grendel. Beowulf, the hero of Geats, a hero of the Geats, travels to Denmark to help King Hrothgar, whose kingdom has been terrorized by the monster Grendel for 12 years. The poem has three main parts. First part is Grendel, battle with Grendel. Beowulf, a hero of the Geats, he has strong loyalty towards the King Hrothgar, the King of Denmark, the ruler of the Danes. And he travels to Denmark to help King Hrothgar. King Hrothgar എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഡെൻമാർക്കുകാരുടെ പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട രാജാവായിരുന്നു. അവരെ സഹായിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് അങ്ങേയറ്റം വിധേയത്വമുള്ള ലോയൽറ്റിയുള്ള ബിയോൾഫ് ഡെൻമാർക്കിലേക്ക് ട്രാവൽ ചെയ്യുന്നു. ആൻഡ് ദ കിങ്ഡം ഓഫ് Hrothgar was terrorized by the monster. The monster has terrorized the kingdom for 12 years. 12 വർഷം നിരന്തരമായി ഭീകരവാഴ്ചയിലാണ്. ടെററൈസ് ചെയ്യപ്പെടുക, ഭീകരമാക്കപ്പെടുകയാണ്. ആര്? ഈ ഗ്രൻഡൽ. ആ ഗ്രൻഡൽ നേരിടാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ബിയോൾഫ് പോകുന്നതാണ് ഒന്നാമത്തെ ഭാഗം. Then, seeking to a code of honor, Beowulf decides to fight Grendel with his bare hands. Seeking to a code of honor. ഇത് ഫെയർ വാറാണ്. വാർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഫെയർ ആണ്, നീതിയുക്തമായ യുദ്ധമാണ്. Beowulf decides to fight Grendel with his bare hands. In a great battle, he tears Grendel's arm from his socket, mortally wounding the beast. The beast was mortally wounded. This is the first battle with Beowulf with Grendel. Then, Grendel ഇങ്ങനെ ഗ്രendel തകർന്നപ്പോൾ അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് അമ്മ പ്രതികാര വാഴ്ചയോടുകൂടി വരികയാണ്. Battle with Grendel's mother. To take revenge upon, to avenge her son. To avenge her son, Grendel's mother attacks the hall of the following night. Beowulf follows her to her lair beneath the swampy mere. Swampy എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ മാർഷസ് ഉള്ള ചളി നിറഞ്ഞ അവരെ ലെയറിലേക്ക് പോയിട്ട് മോൺസ്റ്റർ ലെയറിലേക്ക് Beowulf പോവുകയാണ്. His own sword is useless. So he grabs magical giant sword from her wall and kills her with it. മന്ത്രിക ശക്തിയുള്ള വാള് പിടിച്ചെടുത്തിട്ട് കൊല്ലുകയാണ്. He returns Grendel's head as a trophy. He returns with Grendel's head as a trophy. ഇതാണ് സെക്കൻഡ് പാർട്ട്. Then, third part is battle with the dragon. After his victories, Beowulf returns home and he is hailed as a hero. He was given hero worship and he eventually becomes the king of Geats. And he ruled there for 50 years. In his old age, a dragon is awakened when a thief steals from his treasure hoard. In his old age, a dragon is awakened when a thief steals from his treasure hoard. ഇതാണ് 3 പാർട്ട്. ഇനി ഈ നോക്കണം. The dragon attacks Beowulf's kingdom. Beowulf fights the dragon with his warriors, flee in terror. മറ്റെല്ലാ ആളുകളും ഓടിപ്പോയി കളയുന്നു, except loyal Wiglaf. Beowulf kills the dragon, but is fatally wounded in the process. In the decisive battle, Beowulf was fatally, deadly wounded. The epic ends with a grand funeral for the fallen hero. The epic poem ends with a grand funeral for the fallen hero who dies without naming an heir, who dies without naming an heir. Then, ഈ കവിതയിലുള്ള പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട കോഡ്സ് നോക്കുക. ഏതൊക്കെയാണ് കോഡ്സ്? കണ്ടോ, he was spawned in that slime of Cain, murderous creatures banished by God. Narrator പറയാണ്. You can see in this poem, you can see Beowulf is a third person narrative, an omniscient perspective of the narrative. See, omniscient perspective as a narrator. And he gives us glimpse of many characters, feelings and viewpoints. It is a third person, third person narrative ആണിത്. അവിടെ ധാരാളം കോഡ്സ് കാണാം. He was found in that slime of Cain, murderous creatures banished by God. This court established Grendel as an inherently evil being, descended from Cain, the first murderer in the Bible. ബൈബിളിൽ ആബെലിനെ കൊല്ലുന്ന ആദ്യത്തെ കൊലപാതകയാണ് കെയിന്. ആ കെയിനിന്റെ ഡിസെൻഡന്റ് ആണ്, വംശാവലിപ്പെട്ട ആളാണ് ആര്? ദിസ് ഗ്രendel ആണ്. He referred to Grendel. Cain, murderous creatures banished by God. This court established Grendel as an inherently evil being, descend from Cain, the first murderer in the Bible. Second court നോക്കുക. If death does take me, send my armor to Wiglaf. Fate will unwind as it must. The Beowulfinadana. This is, spoken before fighting Grendel. See, this shows Beowulf's acceptance of fate and deep loyalty to his king, Wiglaf. His loyalty to the king. If death does take me, send my armor to Wiglaf. Fate will unwind as it must. Spoken before fighting Grendel, this shows Beowulf's acceptance and fate and his deep loyalty to his king Wiglaf. Then, Grendel discovered himself in a hand grip harder than anything he had encountered in any man. Narrator പറയാണ്. This highlights Beowulf's superhuman strength. Discovered himself in a hand grip harder than. Moment of Grendel for the first time in his life feels fear, knows he is defeated. Discovered himself in a hand grip harder than anything he had encountered in any man. This highlights Beowulf's superhuman strength and marks the moment Grendel for the first time in his life feels fear and knows he is defeated. Then, it is always better to avenge dear ones than to indulge in mourning. Beowulf പറയുന്നതാണ്. It is always better. കണ്ടോ, alliteration കണ്ടോ? It is always better to avenge dear ones than to indulge in mourning. This statement perfectly encapsulates the heroic chord emphasizing action, vengeance over passive grief. Passive grief. Defend your life now with the whole of your life's strength. I shall stand by you. Wiglaf പറയുന്നതാണ്. Defend your life now. With the whole of your strength, I shall stand by you. Wiglaf says this during the dragon fight, demonstrating his unwavering loyalty and his commitment to the heroic cause, even when others have fled. നിങ്ങൾക്കറിയാം, ഈ ഡ്രാഗണായിട്ടുള്ള ഫൈറ്റിൽ വിഗ്ലാഫ് ഒഴിച്ച് ബാക്കി ആൾക്കാരൊക്കെ തന്നെ രക്ഷപ്പെട്ടു പോയി കളയുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ Wiglaf says this during the dragon fight, demonstrating his unwavering loyalty and his commitment to heroic code, even when others have fled. Then they said that all the kings upon the earth, he was the man most gracious and fair-minded, kindest to his people, and keenest to win fame. They said that of all the kings upon the earth, he was the man most gracious, fair-minded. Beowulf. Beowulf was the most gracious, fair-minded, kindest to his people, keenest to with fame. This is a final tribute to Beowulf, summarizing his legacy as an ideal hero, king who was courageous, generous, and just. He was a kind, ideal hero, courageous, generous, and just. Then, symbols നോക്കുക ഈ കവിതയിൽ. ഗ്രൻഡൽ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ symbol of evil and jealousy, descendant of Cain, Cain പരമ്പരയിൽപ്പെട്ട ആള്, a descendant of Cain. He embodies humanity's dark side. He reflects the dark side, and his defeat represents the triumph of good over evil. When he was defeated, it represents the triumph of good over evil. Then, Hrothgar. Hrothgar, the great mead hall, symbolizes community, happiness, safety, and pride. Community, happiness, safety, and pride. അവിടെയാണ് ഈ Hrothgar. അവിടെ എന്ത് ചെയ്യുന്നു? And this Hrothgar was terrorized by Grendel for 12 years. Stood empty for 12 years under the Grendel's terror. Represents tragic reversal from bliss to grief. Tragic reversal from bliss to grief. സന്തോഷമുള്ള സ്ഥലത്ത് ദുഃഖം മാത്രം വിതറുന്നു. അതാണ് Hrothgar. അത് ഡ്രാഗൺ ആരാണ്? Powerful symbol of greed. It hoards treasure for no reason, which is the opposite of the ideal Anglo-Saxon king, who was known for ring giver because he generously distributed wealth to reward his own loyal warriors. Dragon is a powerful symbol of greed, jealousy. It hoards treasure for no reason, which is the opposite of the ideal Anglo-Saxon king, who was known as a ring giver because he generously distributed wealth to reward his loyal warriors. Dragon ആണ്. തീംസ്. അടുത്ത് നോക്കാം. തീംസ് നോക്കണം. എന്താണ് തീം? ഒന്ന് ഹീറോയിക് കോഡാണ്, മറ്റത് ലോയൽറ്റിയാണ്. ഹീറോയിക് കോഡ് മീൻസ് this is the central theme and the moral system that governs the character's behavior. For warriors, the code demands courage, strength, absolute loyalty to their lord. See, this is the central theme and moral system that governs the character's behavior. For warriors, the code, heroic code demands courage, strength, absolute loyalty to their lord. For rulers, it demands generosity in rewarding followers and wisdom in governing. For rulers, it demands generosity in rewarding followers and wisdom in governing. Then, good versus evil. The poem presents a clear conflict between good and evil. Good, represented by Beowulf, Hrothgar, and evil embodied by the monsters. Hrothgar. Beowulf fights for good others, while Grendel, his mother, and dragon fights out hatred and greed. Heroic gods, good versus evil. Then, third one is loyalty. Loyalty is a guiding principle in the poem. Beowulf's entire quest or search is driven by his loyalty to Hrothgar's. Later, Wiglaf's loyalty to Beowulf stands in stark contrast to the cowardice and other warriors. മറ്റാളുകൾ ഓടിപ്പോകുമ്പോൾ കൂടെ നിൽക്കുന്ന വിഗ്ലാഫിൻ്റെ ലോയൽറ്റി, ബിയോൾഫിന് ഹോത്ഗാറിനോട് കാണിക്കുന്ന ലോയൽറ്റി. Loyalty is the guiding principle in the poem. The entire quest is driven by his loyalty to Hrothgar. Later, Wiglaf's loyalty to Beowulf stands in stark contrast to the cowardice of the other warriors. This loyalty is passed down through generations. This loyalty is passed down through generations. Hospitality. Generosity and hospitality were crucial components of the heroic code for rulers. Kings were expected to host grand banquets in their mead halls, to reward warriors, host guests. Grendel's occupation of Heorot is so devastating precisely because it prevents Hrothgar from fulfilling his essential duty. Because Grendel terrorized Heorot for 12 years. Kings were expected to host grand banquets, വലിയ വിരുന്ന് നൽകുന്നുണ്ട് അവർ, mead halls, to reward warriors and host guests. But when Grendel occupied Heorot, it is so devastating because it prevents Hrothgar from fulfilling his own essential duties. Then, death and defeat. The poem acknowledges death is the inevitable fate of all. Even the greatest heroes and kings. The poem acknowledges that death is the inevitable fate of all, even the greatest heroes and kings. While courage can help a warrior fight against it, death ultimately defeats everyone. While courage can help a warrior fight against it, death ultimately defeats everyone. Death ultimately defeats everyone. Beowulf's glorious funeral serves to lessen the sting of final defeat. Beowulf's glorious funeral serves to lessen the sting of final defeat. ഇനി നമ്മൾ ബിയോൾഫിൽ ചോദിക്കാൻ സാധ്യതയുള്ള ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ ഓർമ്മിക്കണം. ഇത് മൊഡ്യൂൾ 2-ലെ ഒന്നാമത്തെ യൂണിറ്റാണ്. മൊഡ്യൂൾ 2-ലെ രണ്ടാമത്തെ മൊഡ്യൂളിലെ നോൺ ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡാണ്. നിങ്ങൾക്കറിയാം, വാസ് സിലബസ് ആണ്. ഇതിലെ രണ്ടാമത്തെ യൂണിറ്റിലെ ഒന്നാമത്തെ ഭാഗമാണ് ബിയോൾഫ്. ഓർമ്മിക്കണം, ബിയോൾഫ് ഒരു എപ്പിക് പോയമാണ്. അത് പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട സംഭവം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ബിയോൾഫ്സ് ഫൈറ്റ് വിത്ത് ഗ്രൻഡൽസ് മദറും ഡ്രാഗണുമാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അതിൽ ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ ചോദിക്കുക. അപ്പം നമുക്ക് ഏകദേശ രൂപം നമുക്ക് കിട്ടി. ദ ഓൾഡസ്റ്റ് സർവൈവിങ് എപ്പിക് പോയമാണ് ബിയോൾഫ്. അപ്പം നിങ്ങൾ വേണ്ടതെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഈ ബിയോൾഫിൻ്റെ പുസ്തകം നിങ്ങൾക്ക് കിട്ടാനുണ്ടാകുക. ലൈൻസ് വേണമെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഡൗൺലോഡ് ചെയ്ത് എടുക്കാം. പക്ഷേ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അത് വായിച്ച് നോക്കാം. യൂട്യൂബ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഗൂഗിളിലൊക്കെ സെർച്ച് ചെയ്താൽ കിട്ടും. ലൈൻസ് കിട്ടും. അതൊന്ന് വായിച്ചു നോക്കാം. വേണമെങ്കിൽ അതിൻ്റെ സമ്മറിയൊക്കെ മനസ്സിലാക്കി വെക്കുക, കൃത്യമായിട്ട് ക്യാരക്ടേഴ്സ് മനസ്സിലാക്കി വെക്കുക. അതിന് ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ നോക്കാം. ഫസ്റ്റ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ നോക്കാം ആദ്യം. നമ്മളിതിൽ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ആണ് നമ്മൾ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അക്കോർഡിംഗ് ടു ദ സ്റ്റഡി ഗൈഡ്, when was the poem Beowulf most likely composed as an oral story? Is the first question. When was the poem Beowulf most likely composed as an oral story? See, everybody knows the poem was most likely composed as an oral story between 700 and 750 Christian era. That is the answer. You know, the answer is 700 and 750 CE. The guide states that the poem is believed to have been composed between 700 and 750 CE to be told orally, though it was written down centuries later. You must know that. It was written down centuries later. The poem is believed to have been composed 700 and 750 CE. Then second question. Grendel is identified as a descendant of which biblical figure? Judas, Goliath, Lucifer, Cain. Everybody knows. Grendel is identified as a descendant of Cain. Cain is a biblical figure and Cain. So here the poem explicitly states that Grendel was spawned in that slime of Cain. Line is here. Spawned in that slime of Cain, who murdered his brother Abel. The poem explicitly states that Grendel was spawned in that slime of Cain, who murdered his brother Abel. Abelum Cainum. ആ കെയിൻ്റെ പരമ്പരയിൽപ്പെട്ട ആളാണ്. Then, third question here. For how many years did Grendel terrorize Hrothgar? Hrothgar was made hall by see. So here, how many years? You know the answer. Your answer here is 12 years. Grendel's murderous rampage on King Hrothgar's hall continued for 12 winters. It is written in 12 winters now, not 12 years, 12 winters. Grendel goes to Denmark, where he meets Grendel, who terrorized Hrothgar Hall for 12 years. Then, next question is, fourth question is, what is Beowulf's primary motivation for sailing to Denmark to help Hrothgar? Here, you know, Beowulf sailed to Denmark to help Hrothgar. What is his primary motivation? To win treasure gold for himself, to conquer the Danes and expand his kingdom, a sense of loyalty as Hrothgar had once saved his Beowulf's father. This answer. To prove he was stronger than his rival. Unfold. So answer here is, what is the answer? Answer here is, what is the answer? A sense of loyalty, as Hrothgar had once saved Beowulf's father. Beowulf is driven by loyalty because Hrothgar saved his father, Ectiu, from death by paying a fine on his behalf. Then, fifth question. How does Beowulf choose to fight Grendel to make the contest fair? With a magical sword and armor, with the help of his 14 strongest Danes, without any weapon or armor, by setting traps inside Herod Hall. You know the answer? Without any weapon or armor. Answer is without any weapons or armor. Because code of honor, Beowulf decided to fight Grendel as an equal, laying down his armor and sword so as no unfair advantage. Then, next question is, what fatal injury does Beowulf inflict upon Grendel? You know, he stabs him through the heart. He crushes his skull with his bare hands. He beheads with a giant's sword. He tears Grendel's entire arm from his body. So answer is what is your answer? He tears, cuts, ripped off Grendel's entire arm from his body. During the great battle, Beowulf with his mighty strength rips Grendel's arm from his body, mortally injuring him. That is the answer. Then, 7th question is, why does Grendel's mother attack Herod Hall? Why does Grendel's mother attack Herod Hall? To get revenge for the death of her son Grendel. To get revenge for the death of her son Grendel. What is the answer here? To get revenge for the death of her son Grendel. Prepared to revenge her son's death, Grendel's mother arrives the day after Grendel is defeated to seek revenge. Then, 8th question is, what weapons does Beowulf use to kill Grendel's mother? What weapons does Beowulf use to kill Grendel's mother? A magical sword made for giant that is hanging on her wall. So answer here is a magical sword made for a giant that was hanging on her wall. After his own sword fails, Beowulf spots a mighty sword meant for a giant on the wall for her lair, uses to deliver the deadly blow. Then, next question is, the dragon is a powerful symbol of what concept in the poem? The dragon is a powerful symbol of what concept in the poem? Fate, war, death, greed. So answer here is greed. The dragon symbolizes greed because it hoards gold and treasures in its lair, which is the opposite of a good king who generously gives rewards. Dragon symbolizes greed because it hoards gold and treasures in its lair, which is the opposite of greed and of a good king who generously gives rewards. Then, what event awakens the dragon and starts its rampage? What events? Beowulf's army marching near his lair, a natural earthquake that disturbs his barrow, a runaway slave standing a single golden goblet from his hoard, the death of Beowulf, which its senses shift in power. You know the answer? A runaway, answer here is a runaway, a runaway slave stealing a single golden goblet from its hoard. The dragon awakens to find a golden goblet missing, which was stolen by a man who happened upon his lair, and it seeks revenge for the theft. It seeks revenge for the theft. The dragon awakens to find a gold goblet missing, which was stolen by a man who happened upon its lair and seeks revenge for theft. Then, 11th question. Who is the only one of Beowulf's warriors to help him fight the dragon? You know the answer. Answer here is Wiglaf. When Beowulf's warriors see the dragon, they all run and hide, except for a young Dane named Wiglaf, who is his cousin and trusted companion. Then, next question. How does Beowulf receive his fatal wound? He is burned by dragon's fire. Dragon bites his neck and sharp poisonous fangs. He is cursed by dragon. His own sword breaks and impales him. What is your answer? Your answer here is the dragon bites his neck, sharp poisonous fangs. So answer, the dragon bites his neck with his sharp poisonous fangs. Beowulf is fatally wounded when the dragon bites his neck with its sharp fangs during their final battle. Then, 13th question. What literary device involving repetition of sounds gives the original poem a rhythmic metaphor? A. Metaphor. B. Simile. C. Alliteration. Onomatopoeia. So, answer here is alliteration. The poet was gifted in the art of alliteration, which is the repetition of sounds within the text that creates rhythmic quality suited for oral performance. Which is suited for rhythmic quality suited for oral performance. Alliteration. 14th question. What does Hrothgar symbolize for King Hrothgar and his people? And you know, Hrothgar, a safe haven of community, celebration, happiness. You know the answer? A safe haven for community, celebration and happiness. Hrothgar is a symbol of happiness, pride, meant to be a refuge where warriors and court members can gather to feast and celebrate. And this hall was terrorized by Grendel for 12 years. Then, next 15th question is, Beowulf rules as a king of the Geats for how many years before the dragon attacks? You know, the answer here, Beowulf keeps the country in relative peace for 50 years before the dragon is disturbed. Then, 16th question. What does Beowulf do with the treasures given to him by Hrothgar when he returns to Geatland? What does he do? What does Beowulf do with the treasures given to him by Hrothgar when he returns to Geatland? He presents the king Hygelac as a sign of loyalty. What does Beowulf do with the treasures given to him by Hrothgar when he returns to Geatland? He presents them to his king Hygelac as a sign of loyalty. He presents them to the king Hygelac as a sign of loyalty. Being true to the heroic code, Beowulf gives all his treasures to the king and his men because not doing so would have been a sign of disloyalty. Then, 17th question. What is the central idea of heroic code for a warrior? To be courageous, strong, loyal to one's ruler. Heroic code is to be courageous, strong and loyal to one's to conform to the heroic code. Warriors were expected to be courageous, loyal and strong and willing to sacrifice their lives to protect those to whom they were loyal. Right. Then, 18th question. Who is unfurled in the poem? Who is unfurled in the poem? Arana. Unfurled is one of the Hrothgar's men who initially challenges Beowulf but later admires him. Remember this. Who is unfurled in the poem? Unfurled is one of the Hrothgar's courtiers who out of jealousy tries to discredit Beowulf, but whose spite eventually grows into admiration. Hrothgar's man who initially challenges Beowulf, but later admires him. Unfurled. Then 19th question. What does Wiglaf predict will happen to Geats after Beowulf's death? What does he predict? He predicts there was slavery and doom because of the tribes will see them as weak. So answer here is, what is answer? War, slavery and doom because of tribes will see them as weak. Because other warriors fled and Beowulf left no heir. Wiglaf predicts that once news of their weakness reaches their enemies, they will be attacked. They'll be attacked. The last question, 20th question is, at his funeral, how do Geats remember Beowulf as a king? At his funeral, how do Geats remember Beowulf as a king? As the most gracious, fair-minded, kindest to his people. So answer here is, as the man most gracious, fair-minded, kindest to his people. In their final tributes, the Geats, the land of Beowulf, honor Beowulf by saying he was the man most gracious and fair-minded, kindest to his people, and keenest to win fame. This is Beowulf. Beowulfിന്റെ ഇത് മൊഡ്യൂൾ 2-ൽ നോൺ ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡ് ആണ് വരുന്നത്. ഒന്നാമത്തെ പാർട്ടാണ് ബിയോൾഫ്. ആംഗ്ലോ സാക്സൺ പോയമാണ്. 750 എഴുതപ്പെടുന്നത്. ഒരു അൺനോൺ ഓതർഷിപ്പാണ്. അഡ്വഞ്ചർ സ്റ്റോറിയാണ്. ജാനർ അഡ്വഞ്ചർ സ്റ്റോറിയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അത് ആണ് ഇതേക്കുറിച്ചൊരു ഐഡിയ കിട്ടി. ഇനി ഇതൊന്ന് നല്ലപോലെ ശ്രദ്ധിച്ച് നോക്കിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, അതിൻ്റെ പ്ലോട്ട് സമ്മറിയും കാര്യങ്ങളും ശ്രദ്ധിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ യു വിൽ ഹാവ് എ ക്ലിയർ പിക്ചർ അബൌട്ട് ദിസ്. അപ്പോൾ ആദ്യം വേണ്ടത് നമ്മൾ ഈ മൊഡ്യൂളിനനുസരിച്ചിട്ട് എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങളും കളക്ട് ചെയ്യാണ്. ഓരോ കാര്യങ്ങളും കൃത്യമായി പഠിച്ചെന്ന് ഉറപ്പ് വരുത്തുക. എന്നിട്ട് സ്ലോ ആൻഡ് സ്റ്റഡി ആണ് വിൻസ് ദ റേസ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ഇന്ന് ഇത് പഠിച്ചു വെച്ച് കൃത്യമായി മനസ്സിലാക്കി ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ ഏകദേശം ഈ മോഡൽ ചോദ്യങ്ങളാണുള്ളത്. നമ്മൾ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട കോഡ്സ് അടക്കം നമ്മൾ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പം ഇത് ഇങ്ങനെ പഠിച്ചു പോവുകയാണെങ്കിൽ യു വിൽ ഹാവ് എ ഗുഡ് ഐഡിയ. അപ്പോൾ ഇതിൽ വരുന്ന ആൻസർ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എളുപ്പത്തിൽ കോൺഫിഡൻ്റ് ആയിട്ട് ആൻസർ ചെയ്യാൻ കഴിയും. ഓക്കെ, ലെറ്റ് us stop now. Thank you all.